revealing how the UPA wanted RSS boss interrogated.
Now, the officers were under direct orders, ladies and gentlemen, from UPA mantris, including then Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde, to secure RSS Chief Bhagwat's custody for interrogation. Now, this is a fact.
The UPA began to pile on the pressure when Current Affairs magazine Caravan carried an interview with Hindu terror suspect Swami Asimanand, who was in Panchkula jail, naming Mohan Bhagwat as a principal motivator for some terror attacks. The NIA chief, however, stressed on forensic evaluation of the tapes first to establish its authenticity.
Talking in the political context, the elections were to follow in May. We all know that. In 2014 February, they were actually thinking of arresting Mohan Bhagwat. Now that assumes that for the UPA, he was akin to like the head of the Lashkar-e-Toiba or something. I mean, that's the only way one can sort of draw that parallel, because this is a very serious insinuation.
A massive political expose that has thrown up some big questions. Why was the UPA government pressurizing NIA to interrogate Mohan Bhagwat for terror links? And will the present government not release the file noting kept secret so far? Bureau Report, Times Now.
Joining me this evening is Union Law and Information Technology Minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, thank you very much for joining me here on Newshour Direct. It's a big expose that's been put out by Times Now on how there was pressure on the NIA in 2014 to somehow or the other summon RSS chief Mr. Mohan Bhagwat for questioning. And this was based on an interview, just an interview which was purportedly given by Swami Asimanand to the Caravan magazine. This interview, they said, where Asimanand is supposed to have said that he was in the presence of senior members of the RSS, including Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, who actually encouraged him to go out and do the bomb blasts and link the entire issue of terror to minority groups. Do you think when the UPA was pressurizing the NIA, as file notings now show, it was using a completely flimsy ground of an interview given to a magazine to summon somebody as respected as Mohan Bhagwat ji?
You see, I definitely recall, Navika, first congratulations to Times Now for doing this great expose. I distinctly recall in February 2014 itself, a formal press conference was held by Meenakshi Lekhi, one of our distinguished colleagues and a spokesperson, where it was flatly and categorically denied about the Karwa interview. These kinds of interviews and write-ups used to come in Karwa even in earlier matters. But what is a matter of great, I would say, shock, that the Home Minister of India was pressurizing the NIA to summon Mohan Bhagwat ji, the RSS chief, based upon this completely flimsy ground. And what I've been able to understand is that the then NIA chief put up a very spirited defense that unless the voice in the interview purportedly published in Karwa is properly authenticated by a scientific examination, how can we take it at its face value? But the other people, IG down below, were pushing to comply with the mandate. And kindly see, 2014 election in May, on 26th of May, we came to power and Modi ji became the Prime Minister. And the Congress leadership knew that we are going to lose, yet see their temerity as to how NIA was being pressurized, based upon a collusive, I would say, completely sold out interview having no factually basis, a fictitious interview to frame Mohan Bhagwat ji. This was the level to then Home Minister was willing to stoop low. And Navika, I would like to highlight one thing more. Remember the same Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde as the Home Minister in the Jaipur conclave of the Congress party, where Rahul Gandhi was anointed as the Vice President, supposedly quote unquote, had talked of Hindu terror. You remember that? And we had occasion
absolutely, and I can read out that statement, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. I can read out that statement. That statement said, in which Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde said, training camps of both the BJP and the RSS are promoting Hindu terrorism. Whether it is Samjhauta blast or Mecca Masjid blast or the Malegaon blast, they plant bombs and blame it on the minorities. Do you think this statement then actually reveals the fact that there is a preconceived notion that the UPA, especially the then Congress Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde, wanted to propagate?
Obviously, Congress party was scared that we are bound to lose because of the sins and omission and commission and corruption. And therefore, this kind of whole issue was sought to be propagated. Remember one thing more, Navika, I need to highlight it today. This was not only one instance. You may recall in case of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, 9 cases, sensitive cases, the Supreme Court SIT investigation under a distinguished former CBI Director, Mr. Raghavan, nothing was found. Then what happened? Then the Ishrat Jahan case, you know, the CBI, again some kind of a collusive evidence of a man with a white beard, a man with a black beard. And ultimately CBI said there is no evidence at all. And then the Snoop gate was opened. All this was going in 2013 and 14. And what was the purpose? Frame the RSS in Hindu terror, seek to grill Narendra Modi ji so that we can stop him from becoming the Prime Minister. And contrast the sins of the Congress party from the 2G to the Commonwealth to other Colgate, in exposing which Times Now had played a role, also in a big way. Therefore, at times, it shocks the conscience. Would you stoop to this level? Based upon a fictitious interview of Asimanand in Karwa, which he had denied, for which he has issued a legal notice. Yet based upon that interview, the Home Minister is pressurizing the NIA to summon and grill the RSS chief. Nothing could be more astounding and I would say despicable than this. And the people of India saw to the game and brought the Congress party to 44.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, now in recent times we've seen Swami Asimanand has recently been acquitted in the Ajmer Dargah case by a special Jaipur court. Also the fact that Sadhvi Pragya was granted bail by the Bombay High Court in the Malegaon 2008 blast case. So all the so-called Hindu terror cases seem to be falling apart. Do you think this was a deliberate motive of the UPA government, especially the Congress at that time, to somehow corner the BJP and the RSS with Hindu terror so as to make sure that this would pay them political dividends when the elections of 2014 came?
Well, the surrounding circumstances are too suspicious to draw the conclusion you have just attributed to, Navika. You may recall there was a confessional statement of Asimanand, and he said, I have never made that statement. You know it very well, and many of the people involved in that ultimately publicly stated as to how we were pressurized by the power that we at that point of time to make those kinds of inferences. Now the point is, all of us have to be firm as far as national security is concerned. But first, kindly see the expression Hindu terror, saffron terror, seeking to completely cloud the legacy of the Hindu philosophy or the saffron part of India's heritage, cultural and other heritage. Once they were cornered on that, then all right, let us have to implicate the RSS and have to stop Mr. Modi anyhow. I'm sorry to say, don't play national security in such a manner. Today, I think maybe in your case itself, you had some point of time raised as to how some of the Pakistanis were suddenly released who were questioned in the Samjhauta blast case. You know it very well. In this light, therefore, what I'm trying to highlight is that today's revelation is a very good initiative done by Times Now. I wish to compliment. But this only tells us, but for a very honest and courageous head of the NIA at that point in time, who knows, just few months before the election, NIA would have summoned Mohan Bhagwat ji without any evidence, based upon a fictitious, collusive interview in a particular magazine, in regard to which the so-called main character of the interview himself has given legal notice. This is how maybe Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde was brought for these things. I don't know.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I'd also like you to recall the statement made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who said RSS people killed Gandhiji and today their people, that is the BJP, talk of him. They oppose Sardar Patel and Gandhiji. It is this statement for which a defamation case has been filed against Rahul Gandhi. So do you think when Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde as the Home Minister was putting pressure on the NIA, the cue was being taken right from the top from 10 Janpath and Rahul Gandhi?
I recall when he became the Home Minister, he publicly said, I obey the command of Sonia Gandhi because of which I am here. The first Dalit Home Minister, you recall his interview on television? But Rahul Gandhi's sense of history, I'm sorry to say that, he goes and meets the Chinese ambassador when the situation is full of tension. When our security forces are gaining the upper hand on the terrorists in Kashmir and the funding of the separatists, you know it very well, then he says that Mr. Modi's policy is encouraging them. What one would say about Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Utterly irresponsible. I don't think he ever does his homework himself. But in case of Gandhi murder, did he ever bother to read so many commissions of inquiry, judicial commissions of inquiry, which exonerated? Is he aware of the letter of Sardar Patel written to Nehru himself, whereby he has said many of the allegations attributed to RSS is wrong? I don't think he does any homework. And as far as the fascination of Mr. Sardar Patel about, Mr. Rahul Gandhi about Sardar Patel is concerned, Navika, let me on Times Now raise an issue. And I would like Times Now viewers to comment about this. Sardar Patel died in 1950. He was given Bharat Ratna in 1991 after 41 years. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, will you kindly tell the country why he was denied a great son of India Bharat Ratna for 41 years? Mr. Maulana Azad died in 1959, great leader. He was given Bharat Ratna in 1992. In the meanwhile, Nehruji was given, Rajendra Prasad was given, Indira Gandhi was given, Rajiv Gandhi was given, V.V. Giri was given, Zakir Hussain was given, no problem, all eminent people. But Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Madam Sonia Gandhi, please explain to the nation, why was Sardar Patel denied? And Navika, let the viewer Times Now recall, in 1991, the Prime Minister of India was Narasimha Rao. If a member of the family would have been the Prime Minister, I am sorry to say, the duty to give Bharat Ratna even to Sardar Patel would have fallen upon.
Well, I take your point.
When in 1998 he chose to give Bharat Ratna to Prakash Narayan.
I take your point, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi today talking of Sardar Patel, how much of respect Sardar Patel has been given by the Gandhi family is too well known. Only for that
yes,
purpose.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I take your point. My last question to you, when Sushil Kumar Shinde and Mr. P. Chidambaram, former Home Ministers, referred to Hindu terror and saffron terror, the preconceived notion, and you are saying that they would have been taking their cue from the Gandhi family itself. My question to you is, tonight, after this expose by Times Now, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, do you think the entire contents of the correspondence at that time within the NIA on the issue of RSS chief Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, Sar Sanchalak ji, should now be made public? As a minister, I'm asking you that question.
Well, your point is fairly well taken. There is a compelling case. But since you asked the Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, for that, the entire administrative process will have to be complied with. Because the matter concerns the Home Ministry, not the Law Ministry. But surely, the highly partisan, irresponsible, politically motivated manner in which the then Home Minister has put pressure on the NIA to implicate Mohan Bhagwat ji in the completely illusory ground of Hindu terror. Surely the country is entitled to know, if I can use that expression, that the facts must be brought in the public domain. Come on, how can you do it? Can you stoop so low for the sake of petty political gains?
Well, on that note, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and we'll continue to follow this story where we have completely exposed the fact that the UPA government was putting pressure on the NIA, and file notings accessed by Times Now show that there was pressure to summon Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief, for questioning on Hindu terror based on just one interview, an interview that has been questioned. Thank you very much, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, for joining.
Tonight, the debate on the Newshour at 9. Bhagwat, terror suspect for the UPA. The debate on the Newshour at 10. Taking language bias too far.
You're watching the Newshour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And on the debate tonight, I'm joined by Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, national spokesperson of the BJP, Rakesh Sinha, RSS ideologue, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, senior lawyer, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, MP of the Congress Party, Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and Saeed Asim Wakar, national spokesperson of the AIMIM. And viewers, you can send in your questions on involve.in/newshour, because I already see a lot of questions since the time Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad gave his first reactions. Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, was it a desperate attempt by the UPA in 2014 to somehow link the BJP as well as the RSS to Hindu terror? And do you think the basis of interrogation of somebody like the RSS chief can be just an interview given to a magazine, an interview that was denied by the interviewer Swami Asimanand himself?
First of all, the interview given by Asimananda in a Caravan magazine revealed the fact that behind all terror activities committed by the RSS people had the blessings of Mohan Bhagwat ji. It is not my comment or my observation. It was observed by Asimananda ji. So later it was denied by him. That is a different story. But
आवाज नहीं आ रही है मुझे यहाँ.
I would suggest and request to Honorable Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad ji that from 17th of this month, the Parliament session will be scheduled to be commenced. Why not? All the relevant materials, including your revelation, could be brought to the domain of the public.
Yes, I can hear you now.
The right forum of this kind of a debate, I think, is Parliament, because everything can be discussed there
लेकिन उसकी नहीं आ रही आवाज मुझे न्यूज़ रूम
in a manner in the full glare of the people of our country. So let the NDA party get the guts and gumption to place just a minute, to place all the relevant documents in public domain and should
जो क्या बात है
initiate the probe and investigation whether it is true
सब ठीक है ऊंचा भी सुनाई पड़ रही है लेकिन
or whether somebody was implicated by any evil intention or not. Everything should be disclosed.
Okay, you're challenging, you're putting the challenge back to the BJP.
Right now at my disposal,
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is putting the challenge back to the BJP. May I ask you, Dr.
On a cock and bull story, I cannot...
You call it a cock and bull story? What about the statements made by Sushil Kumar Shinde and P. Chidambaram relating to saffron terror? There was a predetermined mind that the UPA had to go ahead with Hindu terror.
Navika, I would like to answer.
Yes, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Even special public prosecutor, Mrs.
First of all, I am having a strong objection to what Mr. Sudhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said.
Against the Samjhota case.
That he has used a word. That and all terrorist activities supported by RSS. How you can use this word? Despite it being successfully not only disowned by court, but by your own investigative agency during your tenure. So I think you must withdraw this word. Now coming to this fact. Now coming to the fact. Let me explain. You have said that we should put all the facts in public domain.
Now the country is under your rule. You should engage all your agencies.
Yes.
You should engage all your agencies.
So allow him to speak.
What is the allegation?
So Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, you made your point.
Mr.
Allow
Chaudhary,
him
now
to
can I answer?
Now.
Yes. Okay.
You are asking about putting fact in public domain. Mr. Chaudhary, I would just like to put those facts which are already in public domain. You know, this Samjhota Express and Makkah Masjid case, which were subsequently termed as Hindu terror case, when they were transferred to NIA, 2010. When the charge sheet was done, 2011. And in some cases, not even till 2014. So charges were framed in 2011. But on 6 December 2010, Mr. Digvijay Singh, before charges were framed, has said in Mumbai that 26/11 was an RSS conspiracy. In August 2009, Rahul Gandhi, while discussing with US ambassador, says Hindu terror is the more significant thing 2 years before the charges were framed. And Mr. Chidambaram as Home Minister in December 2008 used the word saffron terror in Rajya Sabha proceeding. 2.5 years before the charges were framed. It means this so-called Hindu terror was a preconceived notion of the UPA government, and subsequently the charges were framed in and around that. Now the things are coming other than Asimanand's statement. And one more thing. There is a very peculiar contradiction in UPA government in the entire history of India. It is the only government in which the investigation was going in one direction, in Samjhota Express, that it is a Pakistani coy, and Kasmani has been termed as terrorist even by US and UN. Suddenly you take a U-turn and say this is a Hindu terror angle. Still today US and UN says that this was a Pakistani ploy, but you said taking a U-turn. It happened only for the first time in India. In Ishrat Jahan case, 2 agencies of this government itself, IB is saying she is terrorist, and CBI saying, initially was saying she is a terrorist. Suddenly took a U-turn and said she is not terrorist. It clearly shows that the UPA has pathetically misused and perverted the investigating agencies in order to serve their mean political motives, just in order to gain some gain. And finally, subsequently, as mentioned by Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad, December 2013, Sushil Kumar Shinde says word Hindu terror, and he gets a pat on the back by Hafiz Saeed.
Well, let's get in Ghanshyam Tiwari. Ghanshyam Tiwari, do you think your alliance partner, the Congress party, was deliberately trying to do appeasement politics which is why it was trying to create a narrative of Hindu terror. After all, what happened to those who were accused in the Samjhauta blast? We just broke 2 weeks ago a story here on Times Now that there were Pakistanis who were accused, who were let off by the then Haryana government, the Haryana police, only on the basis of the fact that it wasn't really fitting in with the narrative of Hindu terror that was wanted to be created by the centre UPA government at that time.
Well, I am perplexed by this story that you have broken. Three things really perplex me. One, when you were interviewing Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Union Minister, he was more enthusiastic about saying who got Bharat Ratna and why, rather than this huge breaking story that a national government was conspiring against RSS, the chief ideologue. It is he spoke for it for 5 minutes, so it is relevant. You started this debate with his interview. Second, you spoke about Asimanand interview. Tell me three things. I challenge the panel. Tell me three things in Asimanand's interview, so-called Asimanand's interview, that are factually wrong, to say that other things were wrong. In the entire interview, he says right in the beginning, if you read that interview, he says that I was tortured so that I could name Mr. Bhagwat. So what you say as breaking story is something that he has said right in the beginning of that interview. Here's a man who comes from a family of freedom fighters, Asimanand, who's one of his brothers was a pracharak. He's well educated. He has successful missions that he has accomplished among Adivasis. And if you read that interview, it's a very intimate interview. So I do not find any fact and logic in a Sudhanshu Trivedi or Ravi Shankar Prasad or Meenakshi Lekhi saying this interview did not happen. Who is manufacturing such an intimate story on Asimanand? He's not a public figure.
And finally, let's go across to the lawyer on the panel, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani. Let's go across to the lawyer on the panel, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani. The fact that Caravan magazine had conducted an interview itself was challenged by Swami Asimanand. Swami Asimanand was in jail at the time this interview purportedly was conducted. My question to you is, for somebody who's accused in a terror case, is it possible that a journalist goes and interviews such a person and gets such explosive material from that person unless they are aided by the government? And why was the government at that time aiding the journalist to get into a jail to interview a terror accused? And the fact, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, the question is that such interviews which were denied, do they have any locus standi based on which the NIA could actually summon somebody like the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat?
Navika, to answer your question first, is it proper for a NIA agency to allow an interview in jail of an accused? The answer is an unambiguous no. And the fact that you allow it, the question is why would you allow it? It was the second question. The fact that you allowed it indicates that you had a friendly magazine, Caravan, that was going to oblige you by making a completely false, alleged confession of Asimanand, implicating Mohan Bhagwat ji. That was the whole idea why this was facilitated. Remember, two things, Navika. First of all, this happened in February 2014. This is significant. In September 2013, Bhavesh Patel, an accused in the Ajmer Sharif case, makes a statement. He writes a letter to the judge trying his case, saying, I've been pressurized by Sushil Kumar Shinde, the then Minister of State for Home, RPN Singh, Shri Prakash Jaiswal, and one more minister, I forget his name right now. Four ministers have pressurized, Digvijay Singh, the General Secretary. 4 persons have pressurized me to make a statement saying that I did the Ajmer Sharif blast at the instance of Indresh Kumar and Mohan Bhagwat ji. This was in 2013. The judge called him into court. The court examined him and said, you made a very serious allegation in writing. He said, I stand by it. So, they couldn't get the accused. The then Congress government and the NIA at its behest couldn't get the accused to falsely implicate Mohan Bhagwat. What they then do is get a friendly magazine, flout all jail rules, get them to have an interview in jail, and make Asimanand say. Now, Asimanand really wanted to implicate. If it was really true that Mohan Bhagwat ji and Indresh ji were involved in any blast and he wanted to implicate them, why would he give it to a magazine like Caravan? Why would he not make a 164 statement to a magistrate? And why would not the government of the day and the NIA of the day at that time...
is factually wrong. An eminent lawyer like him cannot be factually misstating.
Ghanshyam Tiwari,
sir, the interview
please don't interrupt me. You have no knowledge about this. You are only a political spokesperson.
When you state that,
please do not interrupt me. Let me...
No, you have knowledge, but you cannot mislead the discussion.
The truth hurts you.
This interview happened over 2 years.
And that is why you are interrupting me. Listen to the truth, because all these people have obstructed justice
when I see somebody as eminent as you lying on TV, that hurts me. You cannot mislead this discussion. This interview happened over 2 years.
Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, why are you so agitated?
Why are you misleading? This interview happened over 2 years.
Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, why are you so agitated?
It happened in 2014.
What Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani is saying, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani is saying is something that transpired in the court. Bhavesh Patel, and we played out the soundbite just a little while ago of Bhavesh Patel, who clearly made these allegations. Now tell me one question. Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, when Bhavesh Patel says that there was pressure on him to somehow implicate both Indiresh and Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, doesn't it come a full circle that there was a predetermined idea to somehow link the RSS to these blasts, even though we know that there were Pakistanis who were in India who had been caught by the Punjab police, handed over to the Haryana police, but they were let off because the Pakistani link was not fitting in with the narrative that the UPA wanted to build?
Absolutely, Navika. That was the whole motive. And as I keep repeating, why would Mr. Asim Anand give an interview to Caravan magazine implicating these people? If he wanted to implicate people, who is the authority? Who is the appropriate authority to go and give it to, except the under 164, the magistrate? I mean, this whole thing is hogwash. The UPA was so drunk with power in those days that they expected people to follow such complete absolute nonsense. But it doesn't matter how many days it happened. It probably means that it never happened. If it happened over 4 hours, please tell me.
Arguing with fiction when something is right there as fact in front of him.
What is fiction? You are going by the magazine. I'm asking you the magazine
what
itself was questioned.
What Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani is saying is fiction. I asked a straight question. Why?
Mr.
A very straight question, Navika, to Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani.
Okay.
This interview happened over a period of 2 years. It was published in February 2014. It's an intimate profile. Tell me 3 factually wrong things that are stated in the interview. If you have actually studied the case, you will be able to tell. You are just telling me that I don't know anything about it. You are much learned than me, and I respect you. But please tell me 3 factual things that are wrong in this interview.
The entire contents of the interview have been falsified by the fact that Mr. Asim Anand has been acquitted in the Ajmer Sharif case by a court. We don't have to get Caravan or your view on this. The court is far superior to you. You are a politician who peddles lies.
That's a bad argument.
You are a politician who peddles lies. The court goes on evidence.
What is flawed about that argument?
You are not superior to the court, Mr. Tiwari.
Good arguments.
Let me get in Saeed Asim Wakar. What is flawed about the argument? The courts have let off Mr. Asim Anand. The courts have let off Swami Asim Anand, and that's a matter of fact.
What does that have to do with whether this interview happened or not?
You yourself are raising questions about the interview. Ghanshyam Tiwari, if the interview happened over 2 years, isn't it planning? Doesn't it show the planning over 2 years? Which journalist who has been able to get... 1 minute, let me complete. Which journalist will sit on an interview as big as that one for 2 years, continue the interview and bring it out only 2 years later because it matches with the timing on the eve of the Lok Sabha elections? If I had got an interview like that, which had been facilitated by the government with a terror convict who blew the lid off the entire Hindu terror list, I would have put that out the minute I got the first question and answer. It would have been out in the open. I wouldn't wait 2 years to put that interview out, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, and therefore I question. And that's why I question your logic. Let me get in Saeed Asim
ever
Wakar.
complain that he was interviewing over 2 years?
Yes, Rakesh Sinha, coming to you in just a bit. First, let me get in Saeed Asim Wakar, and then I come straight across to you, Mr. Rakesh Sinha, and thank you very much for your patience. But Saeed Asim Wakar, पहले UPA government में सीबीआई को केज्ड पैरट बनाया। ये मेरे शब्द नहीं है, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट के शब्द हैं। उन्होंने कहा कि सीबीआई हैज टर्न्ड इनटू अ केज्ड पैरट। Were they doing the same with the National Investigation Agency कि हमने आपको बता दिया है कि आपको एक हिंदू टेरर प्लॉट बनाना है और उसमें इम्प्लीकेट करना है बीजेपी और आरएसएस को। ये प्लॉट आपको दे दिया है, अब आप अपने किसी तरह से इसको प्रूव कर दीजिए। पाकिस्तानी अगर हैं तो उनको जाने दीजिए, लेकिन हिंदू टेरर बनाने के लिए आरएसएस और बीजेपी को इम्प्लीकेट कीजिए। क्या ये एनआईए को भी एक केज पैरट बनाने की मुहिम थी?
नहीं, देखिए बहुत देर से बहुत सुकून से मैं सुन रहा था। आप पूछा है तो मेरी बात भले ही 2 मिनट सुनिएगा, लेकिन थोड़ा ईमानदारी और सुकून से सुन लीजिएगा। हिंदू टेररिज्म या मुस्लिम टेररिज्म या इस्लामिक टेररिज्म की मसला यहाँ नहीं है। यहाँ मसला ये है कि देखिए, आतंकवाद पहले समझने की बात है कि जो लोग आतंकवादी हैं, लोगों को मारते हैं हथियार उठा के, वो तो आतंकवादी हैं। लेकिन अगर हम या आप या कोई और ऐसे लोगों के सपोर्ट में खड़े हो जाएं, इनका विरोध ना करें, किसी तरह से उनको ईमानदार साबित करने की कोशिश करें या अच्छा साबित करने की कोशिश करें, तो हम भी आतंकवादी हैं। यहाँ बात हिंदू मुसलमान की नहीं हो रही है। लेकिन जब इस्लामी आतंकवाद की बात की जाती है तो कहीं ना कहीं एक जबान पर सवाल होता है, जहनों में एक सवाल उठता है कि कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हिंदुस्तान को बांटने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कुछ लोग। आपने कहा कि हिंदू आतंकवाद को पैदा किया कांग्रेस ने। मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूं कि आपने इस्लामिक आतंकवाद कहां से लाके खड़ा कर दिया? क्या हिंदुस्तान के 22 करोड़ मुसलमानों को आप आतंकवादी कहते हैं? हम भी इस्लाम मानते हैं, हम भी मुसलमान हैं। हम अगर आतंकवादी आपकी नजर में हैं,
कौन कह रहा है कि हर मुस्लिम हर मुस्लिम जो है वो आतंकवादी? ये कौन कह रहा है? ये आप कह रहे हैं, और किसी ने तो नहीं कहा। लेकिन ये सवाल जरूर है कि हिंदू टेरर जैसा शब्द जो है वो मैन्युफैक्चर किया था यूपीए ने।
बाप रे, किसी ने नहीं किया था। मैं पूछ रहा हूं कि हिंदुस्तान में भी सुधांशु त्रिवेदी जी बोल रहे थे, रविशंकर प्रसाद जी अकेले बोल के चले गए, ना कोई पूछने वाला सवाल, ना कोई बात करने वाला, ना कोई क्रॉस क्वेश्चन करने वाला। मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, आजाद हिंदुस्तान में पहला आतंकवादी कौन था? गांधी जी को किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी ने मारा था? इंदिरा जी को किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी ने मारा था? राजीव गांधी को किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी ने मारा था? बेअंत सिंह को किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी ने मारा था? बाबू बजरंगी किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी का नाम है? भावेश पटेल किसी मुसलमान आतंकवादी का नाम है? सुरेश रिचर्ड कोई मुसलमान था? दारा सिंह कोई मुसलमान है? रणवीर सेना मुसलमान ने बनाई थी?
ये केसेस
मुसलमान है?
नहीं हो रहे सर।
किस तरह की बात करते हैं
सर? ये केसेस
आपके सामने है। ये महाराष्ट्र
स्वामी असीमानंद जी को
लोगों में आतंक पैदा करती है, लाठी डंडा लेकर सड़क पर पीटती है। ये मुसलमान लोग हैं,
बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट
वाले मुसलमान लोग हैं, ये हिंदू जो वाले मुसलमान लोग हैं।
क्योंकि ये केसेस में दम अगर होता तो कन्विक्शन
बेल मिल गई उसकी। कोई बेल तो ऐसे ही मिल जाती है। बड़े अपराधी
मिस्टर राकेश सिन्हा
राजनीति कर रहे हैं, तड़ीपार लोग राजनीति कर रहे हैं, तड़ीपार लोग। इसके लिए क्या कीजिएगा आप? मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, हिंदुस्तान में त्रिशूल बांट रहे हैं लोग, त्रिशूल बांट रहे हैं। त्रिशूल क्या करने के लिए बांट रहे हैं? रोटी पकाने के लिए बांट रहे हैं? खाना बनाने के लिए बांट रहे हैं? या त्रिशूल से जमीन की खुदाई करेंगे?
तो रॉकेट लॉन्चर जो कश्मीर में आ रहे हैं,
आरएसएस वाले कौन
सर? जो रॉकेट लॉन्चर कश्मीर में आ रहे हैं,
मैं आपसे
और जो इस्लामिक ग्रुप्स पाकिस्तान में है, इस्लामिस्ट ग्रुप्स जो पाकिस्तान में लश्कर तोयबा और हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन, वो रॉकेट लॉन्चर भी हिंदुस्तान में भेज रहे हैं। कहिए कि वो भी हिंदू टेरर है?
निंदा करते हैं।
कहिए वो भी हिंदू टेरर है? राकेश सिन्हा,
आपके चैनल पे बोल रहा हूं।
सरप्राइजिंग Is it not surprising, राकेश सिन्हा?
आप प्रवक्ता क्यों बन रही है? बैठे उनको जवाब देना दीजिए।
मैं इस देश
आप प्रवक्ता क्यों बन रही है उनका?
मैं आपको साफ बता दूं, सईद
हाफिज सईद मुर्दाबाद, मौलाना मसूद अजहर मुर्दाबाद, उसामा बिन लादेन मुर्दाबाद, पाकिस्तान के सभी इस्लामिक टेररिज्म
आप हर वक्त मुझे क्वेश्चन करते हैं। मैं आपको बता दूं, इस देश के नेशनल इंटरेस्ट में जो होगा मैं उसके बारे में बात करूंगी। ना आपके कहने से दबूंगी, ना किसी और के कहने से दबूंगी। आई एम अ नेशनलिस्ट। आई विल टॉक अबाउट समथिंग that matters to India, something that affects India, is something that I have right to talk about. I don't need lessons clearance or permission from you, Mr. Saeed Asim Bakar. Getting in Rakesh Sinha ji. Rakesh Sinha ji, do you find it surprising? Do you find it surprising, Mr. Rakesh Sinha, that Caravan magazine was the only magazine that got access to Swami Asimanand 4 times? They interviewed him 4 times over 2 years. Is this a setup operation? Isn't that the relevant question to ask today, Mr. Rakesh Sinha?
First, I congratulate Times Now for revealing something which exposes the entire regime. It is not the conspiracy of certain section. It was a conspiracy at the high level. And I don't think that part of conspiracy were 2 Home Minister Chidambaram and later on Mr. Shinde. This conspiracy came from the person who unfortunately didn't know the importance of being Mohan Bhagwat. An Italian lady, Sonia Gandhi, didn't know the importance of being Mohan Bhagwat. The Home Ministers were knowing that. That's why they were just following Sonia Gandhi, but they didn't have the courage to ask Mohan Bhagwat ji for interrogation. I am giving one instance. Pragya Thakur's
that
spiritual brother was
people like me should not be invited further. We should not be invited here further. No.
Kindly let me complete. I have not interrupted.
No.
I am not interrupted. You are acting like a terrorist. Don't act like a terrorist. Don't act like the friends of terrorists. Don't act like the friends of terrorists.
Mr. Nabikaji, like you, we are all nationalists. But you should not play. You should not play a media. You should not play the media as a dictionary of the ruling party. You should not play your media as a dictionary of the ruling party. You are. Now is playing the dictionary of a ruling party.
Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary.
You should not do it.
Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary.
Yes.
Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. We are doing our jobs as a journalist should be doing. We are raising questions. We are raising questions on what is Hindu terror.
We are also nationalists.
You propagated a theory of Hindu terror. If you are such nationalists, may I ask you, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, may I ask you one question? May I ask you one question? That is,
let me complete. I have not completed.
I'll come to you. I will come to you, but let me respond to Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. Mr. Rakesh Sinha ji, please, I beg for your indulgence. Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has raised questions about our journalism. He has raised questions about Times Now and its position. Please allow me to answer him. Rakesh Sinha ji, I'll come back to you. May I ask you, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, why did the then Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde make a statement? Training camps of both the BJP and the RSS are promoting Hindu terrorism. Whether it is Samjhauta blast or Mecca Masjid blast or Malegaon blast, they plant bombs and blame it on minorities. This was the statement of Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde. Why did he later apologize for it? Why did he later apologize for it? Why did he apologize it in Parliament?
Just listen to me. First of all, you told that some selected journalists were given access to Asimanandaji in jail. Okay? May I ask you that how your channel would have got the access to the papers of NIA by which you are accusing?
Because we do our journalism, sir. Sir, may I tell you that even in the UPA regime, the entire Commonwealth Games camp was exposed by me. The entire Commonwealth Games was exposed by me, sir, in the UPA government, which was not a friendly government to the Times Now. The entire Antariksh Devas deal was exposed here on Times Now, sir. It was not a friendly government. We were exposing it then. We are exposing it now because we know our journalism. Sir, 25 years we have ghisod our chappals in the corridors of various bhavans, sir. So don't teach me my journalism. No friendly government calls me and gives me information. For 25 years, I have done every single ministry from agriculture to finance to Prime Minister's office. I have covered every single ministry. No. We are not at the mercy of any party in the government. Every party in government has been questioned by us.
You are branded.
So don't tell us about our journalism,
has been
sir.
losing its credibility day after day.
That is because the Congress doesn't have the guts to answer our questions. That is because the Congress doesn't have guts to answer our questions.
Of the NDA regime. Yes,
that is
why
because
day after
we
day,
give
your
space to the Congress party. It is the Congress party that has boycotted the channel. We get you. We allow you to answer every single question that we raise, but it is the Congress party that has boycotted. It is the Congress party. Now, Mr. Rakesh Sinha, make your point.
We have the courage to face all the questions. We don't have any kind of...
Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, I definitely compliment you because you are probably among the few congressmen who actually comes on the channel. There are not many congressmen who are willing to come on the channel and answer our questions. We have continuously approached the Congress party on every single story that we have done.
I shall be continuing. I shall be continuing to have...
We welcome that. We welcome that. We welcome diverse views, sir.
I cannot afford myself to be subservient to you. But
no,
I cannot afford myself to
Nobody
be
is asking you to be subservient.
I cannot afford
I am giving you as much opportunity to speak as I will give any other panelist. I am giving you as much opportunity to speak as any other panelist. But you cannot stop me from making my point, sir.
You asked all the questions to Ravi Shankar Prasad ji and allowed him to leave.
Okay, Mr. Rakesh Sinha is making a point.
Policy. Yes, you allowed Ravi Shankar Prasad ji of resorting shoot and scoot policy.
So when you were in power, even when you were in power and the UPA was in power, even the UPA ministers never came with anybody. So we are according the same respect and courtesy to ministers in the cabinet. I'm sorry that you choose... I'm sorry you choose to get up, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. That's what the Congress does, always runs away from answers when they are asked questions. Mr. Rakesh Sinha, make your point. I'm sorry I interrupted
you. Look, I'm making the point. You know the first importance of being Mohan Bhagwat ji. 83 years old congressman, Jafar Sharif, proposed that Mohan Bhagwat ji should have been the presidential candidate. You go to Mulayam Singh Yadav and ask about the Mohan Bhagwat ji. That's why I said that someone who does not understand the Indian psychology, who does not know the importance of being RSS chief, can only plot like that. That's why, you know, Anant Brahmachari, who was a spiritual brother of Pragya Thakur, he was illegally arrested by NIA. He was kept in the South Delhi hotel and he was tortured. He was asked to say something which was not a reality. He attempted to suicide. Such things remained out of public domain because
30 seconds. आरएसएस पे पहली बार अटैक नहीं हुआ, 48 में अटैक हुआ, देन जनसंघ बना। 75 पे आपने उस पे प्रतिबंध लगाया, 77 we came into power. After demolition of the structure 93, you put a ban. We came into power with the coalition under ourselves. Then you put this ploy of Hindu terror. We came with clear majority. We are very clear. RSS is very clear. I would just like to say one sentence on behalf of RSS. मैं मधु से अनभिज्ञ आज भी जीवन भर विषपान किया है, किया नहीं विध्वंस, विश्व का आजीवन निर्माण किया है। मुट्ठी भर अवशिष्ट भस्मों पर जीवन भर अभियान किया है, किया नहीं विध्वंस, विश्व का आजीवन निर्माण किया है। 62 China war, 65 Pakistan war, and each natural calamities, RSS is on the forefront of doing service to the nation.
All right.